Well, the recovery plan for the basic education sector is going to be laid bare later today. We are expecting the President to address what is going to be at a very, very important event as well, delivering the keynote address at the 2023 Basic Education Sector Lekgotla. It's a two-day event. Let's head over to senior reporter Silindelo Masikane to give us a sense of what to expect and knowledge and skills for a working world. As you and I both know, school and academia is one thing, Slee, but in the real world, things look very different, don't they?
Certainly so. Good morning, Gareth. We find ourselves at the Sandton Convention Centre, where we are expecting the three-day Basic Education Lekgotla to be taking place. And of course, today the President Cyril Ramaphosa will be opening the Lekgotla with the keynote address. I'm going to ask my colleague Tammy to just show you exactly the mood right now. We do have various stakeholders from the education sector gathering here in Sandton. We know that the theme for this year's Lekgotla is equipping learners with knowledge and skills for a changing world in the context of COVID-19. We know just how difficult various sectors in society have been trying to deal with the effects of the pandemic, but I think the current crisis right now, which I think will be something that will be focused on quite sharply in this Lekgotla, is of course that issue of rolling blackouts that are plaguing the country across the country, really. And of course, we know in terms of education just how critical it is to have our schools equipped with, in fact, perhaps secondary options when it comes to these rolling blackouts, backup power. Exactly how are these, how is the sector going to actually deal and manage that crisis? Because in terms of trying to modernize the education sector, I do know, of course, that the sector is looking at various technologies which are going to essentially require electricity to be able to function. I'm going to ask Tammy to actually just get off his tripod, because I do see one of the union representatives, and I'd like to just walk towards them. We do know that the education minister as well as other officials have been in a meeting this morning ahead of the start of the program, and we have been trying to get a sense from these various stakeholders this morning as to how they're feeling about the issues and challenges facing and plaguing the sector of education. And of course, we do know that unions in the sector, teacher unions, are quite critical in raising many of these issues. I do see Mr. Basil Manuel from NAPTOSA, one of the unions that is actually here this morning. Good morning, Mr. Basil Manuel. How are you this morning?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
I'm good, thank you. Maybe just give me a sense as to your expectations of this three-day Lekgotla.
Well, we certainly hope to drill down into some of those important issues that are bugging our system, and of course to look to the future. There's some celebrations, but we now have to get over that, and we need to look at the real issues that continue to bug us.
Let's talk about the issue of load shedding, because I think that is what the country in essence is seized with. How is the education sector going to try and resolve or overcome that particular issue?
We want to hear long-term plans, because in the short term there is no ready solution, because every ready solution is financially based. But of course South Africa has the possibility of solar power for schools, because you don't even need to invest in big batteries, because it's a daytime institution. But what we've got to do is ensure that labs are functioning, admin blocks are functioning, and those schools that are badly lit are not making our children work in what is not a dignified situation. And that is what we want to see. That is the solution we want.
I mean, when we talk about modernizing the education sector, we've got that issue with rolling blackouts, but how then do we modernize the education when we don't have constant supply of power?
That comes to the whole issue of infrastructure. We want to see us moving into the 21st century, but the 21st century demands constant power. It demands that computers work. It demands that technology is functional.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I do see the minister, in fact, making her way to the hall. I'm going to try and speak to her quickly. Morning, Minister. How are you?
Morning.
Maybe just talk to me about your expectations of this Lekgotla over the next 3 days.
No, expectations is that with these Lekgotlas, we always sharpen our way, our thinking, our processes, and share experiences with international educationists, but more important, our local educationists to assess the progress we've made from last Lekgotla and what are the new trends or things that we need to also consider moving forward. So I'm really expecting great ideas.
Minister, we've got the issue around load shedding. We know that various sectors are plagued with that issue of not having a constant supply of power, and of course this affects schools as well.
No, but I can tell you, and I was sharing with colleagues, that we're a lucky sector. We operate when there's natural light.
Yeah.
So it doesn't affect us negatively. Whether it sheds at 10, we have natural light. We finish at 2, we still have natural light.
But you have subjects like computer science, labs that need to be powered.
We work around it. Load shedding is very consistent. They will say it's from 8 to 2. So we really organize our work around the schedules that we are given. And it has not really, up to this far, negatively affected us. But I don't want to underplay the depression that comes with load shedding. But as a sector, we are spared to a very large extent.
All right, thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much.
All right, it seems the Minister is quite positive in terms of the sector itself managing that challenge around load shedding. We do know, of course, that President Cyril Ramaphosa will be opening the Lekgotla, and of course we are expecting the program with the Minister coming down now to begin any time from now.
Slee, this is why people think you have eagle eyes. I have no idea how you saw Basil Manuel from that far away from the other side of the venue. But trust us, senior reporter Silindelo Masikane to try and find Basil from that far away and then also grab the minister. We'll go back to her again later.